I don't know. I think it went fine, but I don't know. I don't know." And she goes, "Were you funny?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Were you funny in the audition?" And I go, "Was I funny? I don't why would I be funny?" She goes, "Oh, Jesus. You didn't read the thing, did you?" I said, "No." She goes, "It's a sitcom, you idiot. It's a sitcom." And I was like,
All right, all right, all right. I'm here with my friend and partner in crime, Sugar Man, Dan Warner. How you doing, brother? Nice to
"I'm
see
good,
you.
buddy. How you doing? Good to see you."
Man,
Yeah.
I'm just excited to have you here, man. I mean, we worked together for a few years back under Richard Lawson. We met there in the studio, and you've always been one of the standout personalities and one of the lead teachers. And he, you made such an impression on me, and we made such a good friendship of this. And to watch your
Yeah.
career and you evolve over all the years has been amazing, man. I'm delighted, and
Thank you.
and I find it to be a privilege to have you on this show. Commercially, I know no one like you. I've never met anyone like you. I mean, you're like a booking machine. I don't know what you're made out of, but I wish to get some of it. But my guest today, for all of you listening, is award-winning actor Dan Warner, who's been appearing on screen since 1999. He's most memorable for his standout commercials and standout roles on Mad Men, Scandal, fellow Scandal artist, Ray
Yeah,
Donovan,
yeah.
Aquarius opposite David Duchovny, and for recent work with Get Shorty and Chance. I also did Chance, fantastic, fantastic show. Hugh
Yeah, it was
Laurie
that that was
is
a great show, yeah.
spectacular. Dan's career
So
is
good.
years of comedy and drama. He's also leading Valley of Love, a screened film that went to the is it a Caesar Award for best cinematography.
Well, it went to the Cannes Film Festival, and it won a César Award for Best Cinematography in France.
Now I know you
Yeah.
best for your comedic timing and the grounded performances, man, and how you could do so little and get so much. You're the best eye actor I've ever met in my life. I mean,
Oh,
literally,
thank you.
eye motion changes everything with Dan, and it's part of his curriculum. And he tells you with the famous doing nothing that they tell you in commercial auditions. He
Yeah,
explains that. And he explains that in
yeah.
detail on his at his academy. He's coached many actors commercially and theatrically to success, and he now mentors actors to his acting career expert studio. Can you give me the website just for the record up front? I'm gonna have it in the
Yeah,
print so you
it's,
guys can see it.
yeah, no problem. It's, actingcareerexpertstudio.com, and, we've been up and running for, coming on 3 or 4 years now. I've been, coaching and teaching people through the website. I have, uh, over 50 workshop videos and, all all anything that anyone could possibly need to, get their acting career going or rejuvenate their acting career. We have a lot of students that worked before, took a break, and now they're coming back. We have new students. We have, working actors. Um, and yeah, it's a safe space where we get actors to become well-oiled machines, in the new age of self-tape auditions, which is the new norm of back from 2020. Um, what I do, one of the things that the website does that I think is, I think it's the most helpful thing that we do. Uh, I give everyone a self-tape exercise every week, and
No.
they have to go break it down and film it and put it up like it's a regular audition. I tried to make my website a microcosm of the industry. So everyone has a self-tape exercise every week. They post it on the site, and then we have a weekly Zoom where we go over all the tapes. What did you do right? What could you do different? How do we make this better? Because at the end of the day, when we're sending in our self-tape, auditions to, the casting directors. Yes, we want the job, But what we really wanna do, the thing that we really want to accomplish is we wanna make a fan of the casting director. Far and away, that's the most important thing. We wanna get the job, however, if you've got 100 or 200 people in your category auditioning for one role, you have a 0.5% chance or less of booking the job. So, what we wanna do is we wanna turn our self-tapes in on time, we wanna have good lighting, good sound, we wanna have, strong and bold choices, have our moment before, and we want to make that casting director a fan, so that they continue to call us in again and again. You know, when we send our self tapes in, what ends up happening is you send them in, what it seems like, to avoid, because we send them in and we don't hear anything back. So you don't know how you did. You know, you don't know what happened. You don't know what they think of your self tape, because they're never going to give you feedback. Our only barometer really now is if the same casting director continues to call you in again and again and again. If that happens, then you go, okay, I'm doing something right. And what we really want to do is we want to make our self tapes stand out so that everyone leans in, the casting director, the producers, and we want to make them better than everyone else's. And so that's really our goal. That's why we do the self tape exercises every week. I have people turn them in. We go over them. A casting director can spot a rusty or a green actor a mile away, but they can also spot a well-oiled machine a mile away. So when you get to where you're confident in your self tapes, that's when you start booking. That's when they continue to call you back again and again, and that's when your percentage of bookings go way up.
And I can't speak to that enough, man. As we've learned together, and as I've learned throughout my career, it's funny when I go back and I talk to some of the producers and directors of the roles that I book. I mean, almost across the board, they've always said, and I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. Man, you had booked it before you opened your mouth. When you walked in the room, we knew it was you. We knew it was you before you even opened your
Yeah,
mouth. It was that what you carried
yeah,
into the room, and I think that's a lot has to do with preparation, and a lot has to do with, understanding where you're at and the tools that are being used around you, and feeling confident enough in that, "Hey, I can come in there and I prepared enough. I could do my best work. I could be seen. I could be heard. It's gonna go great." And this role is right for me. Now, let me ask you something. You've been working
yeah.
steady since the 90s across commercials, television, and film, in an industry where careers they come and they go fast, man. Now, tell me, what do you think actually kept you working consistently for so long? What is the magic of why? And then I'm going to tell you before you even start, you done took more than two roles from me. Superman, and I think this other one, what's that, Mr. Hater? I was so mad. I was like, but when you said it, you got it. I said, man, I knew yeah, I mean, I lost it to the right dude. I lost it to the right dude. Principal Hager, I auditioned for that, man, and you got
Well,
the
I mean,
reoccurring out that. Yeah, man, and the thing is, I
yeah.
guess I was the brother version of the
Oh,
whole kidney concept, and but you went in there and obviously you nailed it when you walked through the door. But can you tell me what has been your secret and how can I steal it?
well, I think, at the end of the day, and I've had a lot of new actors over the years ask me, what advice would you give a new actor, to enter this career and to have a sustained sort of, uh, a sustained career, something where you have longevity? And I always said, two things, and they seem very bizarre. One is go get a job as a door-to-door salesman. And
Yeah, that's right. I know that's right.
no one understands that. They go, "I don't know why I would do that." And I say, "You don't have to do it for long. You do it for 3 or 4 months, something like that, so you get to where you're knocking on doors, people are telling you no, you get thick skin, you get, your resolute becomes very strong, and no is not a problem. No is a normal thing. And so, to be able to handle rejection. And then the other thing I tell them is to write 5 minutes of stand up and go do an open mic somewhere. And that
That's
will
where I'm
give
at.
you the courage. Yeah. I mean,
Yes,
go
it is.
write 5 minutes of stand up. People are deathly afraid of getting up in front of people and performing. And so having those two skills, because I started as a stand up comedian. years and years ago. And when I was much, much younger, I was a door to door salesman for about 10 or 15 years. So I think those two skills, opposite of acting, have helped me in this, um, you know, i- in my career. And I've been really fortunate. 25 years, it's been going on. You also have to have, you have to have a, even if it's not, um, even if it's not justified, you have to have some sort of unjustified sort of feeling of confidence where, this is my job. This is me. Like, I got this. Even if you don't have it,
Some
like,
arrogance.
this is me, till you make it, it's like, "Listen, I got this." No one so I go into some auditions, and I will do them, and I'll go, "No one has done this better than me. No one has done this better than me." And now I may be wrong because I don't get all of them, obviously, but I have that sort of, feeling that, like, no one's gonna do this better than me. And a bunch of people do it better than me, and they book the roles and all the stuff, but that's my
I doubt they do
feeling,
it better than
when
you,
I go
Dan.
in.
I doubt they do it better than you,
What's
Dan.
that?
I doubt they do it better than you,
Well,
Dan.
thank
I doubt it. I've
thank
seen
you.
you, and I'm
Yeah,
doubting very
thank you.
highly because and, I
Yeah,
and didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to say one thing. Now in hindsight, because I've sat and I've been under your career, your coaching, and I've used your technique to book roles. And when you tell me about the salesman history, I didn't know that, but
yeah,
it makes total sense.
yeah,
It makes total sense when
yeah,
I see how you're working commercially versus theatrically. Commercially speaking, theatrically, I don't feel it as much. Commercially speaking, there's definitely a sense that I took from being my years as a salesperson, and I could see where the congruency there. And I can see how you'd make an excellent salesman, and that definitely translated over to the screen for you. The very little nuances that go into how you're connecting with the person that you're, because I mean that's what acting is. You're selling a message. You're basically that's what not selling a message, but you're conveying. That's what producing is conveying a message and getting it to land, convincing someone of something, especially in the commercial world, whether it's an idea,
yeah,
a
for sure.
theory, or what have you. Your job is to convince, and the thing is, you have a very subtle, stable, grounded way of being convincing. I don't know what it is about you, but you seem very convincing, and when I notice that in your teachings and in your commercials, we believe you. We believe you. We feel that you're telling the truth and that you're connecting and speaking to us. I think that's very
Yeah, yeah.
important. Now, I want to know, do you approach comedy and drama differently? Or is it all one animal to you? Or is it something that yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good question. It's very interesting because what I find in most actors is when they are approaching something that's a comedy, they wanna give it a little something. They wanna be funny, they wanna do the funny.
Give pizzazz.
And
I do
I
that.
and I have to say that I approach them close to the same. And here's a great story, as to how I booked a job on a sitcom. Um, this is great. This will give you your answer.
Okay.
So I go to audition for this, show. And I'm telling on myself a little bit here. I don't do my due diligence. I don't do my homework. I don't find out who's writing it. I don't find out what I don't. I all I know is here's the script, and I'm playing some racist redneck. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm like, I think I can slip into this pretty easily. This shouldn't be a big stretch.
Which is
So I
hilarious
go
'cause
to
you're the
CBS
farthest from
Network.
I've ever met, which is you're
Right,
like the kindest
right.
guy, but you probably play a hell of a
Yeah.
redneck, man. Go ahead, let's go.
I love I love I love being a villain. I love being the bad guy, and so they said, "Can you be this racist prick?" And I said, "Yeah, of course, no problem." So I go to, the audition, and, this, guy who's, Persian, I think, he's playing a cop, he pulls me over, and I give him this whole, "I gotta give you people my license now," and then this whole thing about,
I'm
all
about
the
to book
stuff,
you right
and
now.
I
You
really so I really lean into the racist prick. And so, he goes, "Okay, great." The casting director says, "Great. Can you come back at 3:30?" It's about noon. He says, "Can you come back at 3:30 for a callback?" Well, this is a obviously you've been around, you know, that's a great thing when they give you the callback right there in the room. And I said, "Sure, no problem." So I go have lunch, I come back, and he says, "By the way, when you come back for the callback, can you do it the same way you did it for me?" And I thought, seems odd, but yes, of course, I would do it the same way. So I come back, and now the director is there, one of the producers, and the writer, and the casting director. So there's 4 people in the
Don't
room.
change a
I
thing. I
lean a
want
little
you to show them what you
I
showed me.
I don't change a thing. I even lean a little heavier into the racist asshole, character, and then I leave. And, I don't think twice about it. I go home. My girlfriend at the time, who's also an actor, she's always wanted me to send her any audition I had so she could watch and see what I was doing. And so I come home and she said, "How was your audition?" So I sent her all the information about the audition, which I didn't do a lot of studying on, again, which goes completely against what I teach. Um, and she says, "How was your audition?" I said, "Pretty good. I got a call back, in a few hours. I went to the call back." And she goes, "How did it go?" And I said, "I don't know. I think it went fine, but I don't know. I don't know." And she goes, "Were you funny?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Were you funny in the audition?" And I go, "Was I funny? I don't why would I be funny?" She goes, "Oh, Jesus. You didn't read the thing, did you?" I said, "No." She goes, "It's a sitcom, you idiot. It's a sitcom." And I was like, "Oh, shit. I didn't know that." Cut to, I booked the job.
Of
So
course.
I booked the job. Yeah, it's with, oh God, who was the creator, director of Cheers? Um, uh, oh my God, he's a fantastic director anyway. Uh, anyway, so he was the director on this. So I find out that it's a comedy. I end up booking it. Of course, then I do all my research and figure out, all the all the workings of it. And when I get to the table read, the writer meets me in the hallway and he says, "Hey, just so you know, that was a really great read. We really loved it. Just one little thing." And I said, "Dial it back a little bit." He goes, "Yes. Can you please just dial it back a little bit?" So we want because I was really I was treating it as a theatrical
Right.
audition.
I get it.
James Burrows was the director, the great, Jimmy Burrows. So, he says, I said, "Dial it back." He says, "Yeah, just a little bit." I said, "Yeah, no problem," because then I knew it was a comedy. But that taught me, and this was, 15 years ago. That taught me that I went in auditioning for this as a theatrical role, and it was a sitcom. It was a 3-camera sitcom, and I was just, like, playing it straight. So, having my background be in comedy and having this, experience, just taught me that comedy needs to be played straight. Um, the comedy comes from the writing, not the performance. The comedy is in the writing, and so you have to trust the writing, and you have to trust that that's gonna be so if you play it straight, it's gonna be much, much funnier than if you're trying to, elbow it a little bit or trying to grease the wheels. Yeah, don't play the comedy, just play it straight, and and then all the direct TV commercials that I did, I was the straight man. And before, again, my background was stand-up comedy, so I always wanted to be the comedic guy. But the direct TV commercials, and we shot 20 of them over a 2.5-year period. I was always just playing it straight. Everything was like, okay, great. And I was just this guy, and that's where the funny lies. And so that's what I try to teach. Commercially, even if you're bringing a little levity to a theatrical piece, playing it straight is that's where it's at. So there's a little difference. It's very nuanced, but to me, very little difference between comedy and theatrical role.
I agree. I agree 100%. I have a very similar story. You've seen the show Animal Kingdom, right? So
Oh
to
yeah, yeah.
bring me in the Animal Kingdom, This is prior I didn't watch Animal Kingdom. I had no idea that it was just crazy drama where drug dealing meth heads were so I had no idea. They just told me Animal Kingdom. For some reason, I'm thinking it's and they said that there was a character I was talking to was named Smurf. I'm thinking it's animation. I'm going in, but I'm gonna do it honest. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do too much. I'm gonna do it honest. I'm gonna act like I'm really talking. It's perfectly normal to be talking to a Smurf, and I'm gonna be acting, and this is gonna be the next big Disney or whatever thing it was. I go into the room. I stand there. First of all, they caught me off guard. I think I'm gonna have a reader and a camera. There's 30 people sitting in there all in suits. I guess they called me to call back. Okay, whatever, man. Hey, y'all want me to do Animal Kingdom? Yes, I wasn't taking it very seriously, other than the fact that great chance for me to do some kid stuff. So I'm in the room and I look at him like, all right, cool. Any questions, sir? Anything that you need? Anything? No, nothing. Just where do I put the Smurf? I'm sorry, what? The Smurf. Where do you want me to put the Smurf? Where do you want the Smurf at? Is he joking? Is he serious? But you know what? Never mind. I think we got it. I got the Smurf. Don't Let's go. So boom, I turn around, I do the audition, book it. I don't find out until after I book it that Smurf is the lead lady, the very famous actress, and that I'm in a drama, but I was just being honest with a Smurf in a movie, and I just thought that it was just one of the most interesting things. I had no idea because that was one of those instances where I hadn't done my homework. And those are few and far between. Because on another hand, on Criminal Minds, I'll do all my homework, even so much as how I get out the
Sure.
car before I open my first line.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that booked me
yeah,
Criminal Minds. How I got out the car as if I was on set, I think nailed it for me in that one thing. And,
yeah,
so in that moment before. So as, to move on, I think that, yeah, these experiences are unique, and, I think that as long as you're playing it honest and organic, but you would
yeah,
know better than I
for
that
sure.
that we have a good chance here. Now I have a question here about AI and platforms and self-tapes, and now that people can use AI when they're editing, what are you finding? What is your thoughts around AI?
So
How it's shaping and changing
my
self-tape casting platforms or even performance analysis? Do you have an AI coach?
yeah,
Use your AI as a coach for you doing your recording? My producer
yeah, no, I don't.
answer one.
I do very little AI stuff. My take on AI is I think it's going to help me. I think it's going to help us in the self-tape era for readers, not now, but maybe later when it gets better, because I've used AI readers or an AI sort of a program where I read the dialogue and then it goes into an AI voice to make the voice different. It's still not the same, man. It's still not the
Yeah,
same.
I agree.
AI's got it's got a ways to go. Um, I've had a few in the last 6 months. I've had a few super important, auditions where, I'm, series regular or, guest star recurring, on a Taylor Sheridan show, films opposite Keanu Reeves or, Daniel Craig. I always grab, an actor friend or a director friend of mine who reads opposite me, because there is no replacement for a human being standing there playing opposite you, giving you what you need, and we are, light years away from having AI replace, an actor reader, for a self-tape, for sure. Yes, it can do the voices better and all that, and you can time it and work it around, but if you're really acting and you're really opposite someone else and they're giving you the banter back and forth, man, there's nothing better. There's nothing
Nothing
better.
compares.
Um, I would use AI for, research. I would use AI for, possibly, a different voice. If there was just a one-line voice, I needed a different voice, a woman's voice or something like that, sure. But, I'm not too worried about it right now, and I think too many people are getting their, panties in a wad over it, and I don't think it's that important. It's certainly not gonna take, jobs. I don't think it's gonna take, any acting jobs. Yes, there's gonna be some commercials that, go AI, but they've been doing that for years anyway. But theatrically, hell no. There's no way. I'm not worried about it, whatsoever. Yeah.
Do you what do you think about commercials and how it lends to being, or how does it translates directly to long form storytelling? This is a question more along the lines of how has your commercial background influenced, given to, or detracted from your theatrical
Oh, oh,
performances
oh, I
and
see. Well, I think that so when you're doing a commercial, I think it's one of the best, training it's interesting, when we were with Richard, and we were I think you were in the, filmmaking class with me as well,
Richard Lawson Studios.
yeah, Richard Ross, and so he was giving us we were doing short films, and we'd write, direct, and act in our short films, and people were complaining that there wasn't enough time because he said that has to be under 5 minutes. They're like, I can't tell the story in 5 minutes. I told Richard, I said, your next assignment should be to give everyone shoot a commercial and shoot a 30-second commercial. So you gotta tell this story, and you don't have 30 seconds to tell the story. You have 27 seconds or you have 23 seconds because
Oh,
there's a beginning and an end to that. So you've gotta tell the story. So if everyone shot a commercial and had to tell this story in 30 seconds, now suddenly 5 minutes is a luxury. So I learned a ton from doing commercials, and I will tell you that the storytelling has to be and people really have to be real and grounded. And the thing that the thing that taught me the most doing commercials translating to theatrical is being a real person in a real place having a real experience,
okay.
and that's what you really have to do. And those are that's the people talk about Meisner and Stanislavski and all these methods. My method is simple, and I did not invent it by any stretch, but I adopted it, and it's worked for me over the last 25 years. Be a real person in a real place having a real experience, and if you do that commercially and you do that theatrically, if you do that in any of your self tapes, if you honestly are being a real person in a real place, having a real experience, you are going to be better than 97% of the actors out there.
And it's
That's what I teach and what I feel about.
And that's easily recognizable. Take it from a guy who's also, you and I both been on prime time. And let me tell you, you could feel the difference. Like people say, is this good? I can't do it until I'm gonna run it with you real quick, and I can feel it. You know when you're having experience with it, and all the stars, all the
Sure.
leads, they're having that
Yeah.
experience in real time with you, and you could feel the
Yeah.
difference huge. Your day players will
You
come in,
feel it.
every now and then, not even reoccurrence, they're there, but it's just a short under
Yeah.
fives, you'll notice there's sometimes a slight difference, and that is because they're giving you a line. I don't know if they're having the same real experience, but man, when I'm playing with a pro, I can feel it immediately.
Yeah.
I can feel it immediately. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
I'm in it right now. This
Yeah. They're
we're doing
connected.
this, and that's very
We're doing
obvious.
this.
Very
Yeah.
obvious. You'll feel it when it happens. It feels like you and I talking right now. It does. It feels just like you and I have a conversation right now, and we just happen to have all our words ready to go. And I found that to be very true. So that you nailed that one.
I mean, you can tell right away when the other actor's just waiting for their turn to speak. They're waiting or they're in it with you. And you talked about preparation early on in this interview. And preparation, I love this phrase. I didn't invent it either, but I love it. Preparation takes the pressure off of luck. And if you're super prepared, you're in it. You're in it, and you don't have to worry about your lines or anything else. You're just right there, opposite the other person, and then you have the freedom to do and to respond in real time as opposed to just waiting for your turn to talk. And so, like you said, you could tell right away, like right away.
Yeah.
Is this person giving me what I need, or is this person just waiting for their turn to talk? You
You're
know,
waiting
so
for their turn to
yeah,
is
to your point.
is there anything going on
Yeah,
between the
yeah,
lines between, "Are we having fun right now?" You can feel that. Like, it feels like you're playing a game
right,
of tennis, basketball,
yeah,
or
for sure.
you're having a match. It feels like, yeah, we're saying these words, but we're actually, having an experience. He's trying to get me, I'm trying to get him. We trying to whip each other's ass right here. We came to, as Richard would say,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
came to F. We came here to play today. So,
No,
now
that's and you and those guys are apparent right away. I did an episode of oh my god, what was the name of that show? Anyway, it was opposite Christian Slater.
yeah, I love that
So
when
I get to work. Yeah,
such a deep experience,
I
you
get to
know?
work with a lot of these. It was fatal. It was oh, Dirty John. That's what it was. It was season 2 of Dirty John. I get to work with Christian Slater. Um, I'm
Lucky.
playing this guy who has his daughter um, was killed by a doctor because the doctor made a mistake, and I'm trying to sue the doctor. I'm
Mm,
trying to sue the hospital. And so I have this scene with Christian Slater. He's an attorney, but he used to be a doctor, and he handles cases like this. And so when we were on our, when they were changing the set, changing the lenses or whatever, we had a little break and we're hanging out, sitting there. And I showed him a picture of my niece. And I said, "This is my daughter." And he goes, "Oh, she's cute." I said, "It's not really my daughter." I said, "It's my niece. I don't have a daughter." I said, "But in this scene, this is what I'm working with, you know?" And so I was just telling him I was using that as my sort of, um, this was who I'm thinking about when I'm talking about having my daughter, die at the hands of this doctor.
right.
This
In
is how,
technique, that's called
this is how much of a
substitution
pro.
for new actors. Go ahead.
Correct. And this is how, well, this is what a pro Christian Slater is. So when it comes to my close up, he knows that he can say whatever he wants because he doesn't have to be exact to the script because they're going to turn around on him and they're going to get all his footage. So when they're on me, he said, um, I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen to this doesn't happen to anyone else like it happened to your niece. And the line was daughter, but he said niece because he knew that would trigger me.
You got
And
triggered by
when he
that.
said,
Yo, I get you.
yeah,
Wow, it got personal quick, didn't it? Man, that's a pro,
yeah,
man. That happened to
he
me.
said, I want to make sure this doesn't happen to anything like it happened to your niece. And I just, like, I got emotional. Like the tears came. And it's like, this was just a gift. You know what I mean? Because he's like, here you go. He knew he didn't have to, he knew. Yeah, it was awesome.
As
It
an
was
actor,
awesome.
man, I
Yeah.
love to hear stuff like that, man. I
That's
had
an
a similar
actor,
experience with
right?
a director named Michael Pfeiffer. He had a soap star on screen. I'm playing a doctor in a hospital. I was a little nervous. This is a big soap star I had known, and they called me out last minute to do the scene. I'm in the hospital. The guy could see I wasn't totally all there. I kind of was distracted by, okay, what's my angle? Are you coming in through that door? Did I bump into anything? And then, so he comes in the beginning of the scene. He first, just totally free. He walks into the scene and passes out. That ain't in the scene. Like I thought in real life he passed out. So oh my God, I catch him. You all right, man? What's going on? And then he just starts doing the scene. And he immediately brought me into taking care. And he starts doing the scene. And afterwards, I'm like, thank you so much. Like it was a total
Yeah,
different thing.
yeah,
He really got me. He
yeah.
got done. He pops up at him and I got you.
Great.
And he walks off.
It's
And
great.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, thank you,
So
because
cool.
I was sucking bad till you did that.
Yeah,
So he brought me immediately into the
yeah,
scene by having what appeared to me as a real medical emergency. And that's what being a lead's about. And as a lead actor myself, I've been lead in a few different productions, and I found that, it's just like a lead basketball player. It's up to you. You're driving through the paint. You want to make sure that everybody on the team is able to do their job. And if they're not, you're re-encouraging them. You're letting them know that you got the ball. Hey, I got this. You just ride with me. Look at me. Stay with me. Stay with me right here. That happened to me a lot as a beginning actor. And as we become further along in our journey, we help other actors with that, as I'm sure as you have.
Sure.
You've done it with me
Yeah.
commercially when I'm working with you. Hey, just hang with me, you're gonna be all right, and I believed you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and here we are. So, I do
Well,
want to
their
ask.
names on the doors, so they have to make sure it's all gonna work out, and if they're the lead, they're usually, they're one of the producers on the show, and their name's at the top of the show, so they gotta make sure everything's right, and that includes taking care of your guest stars, your co-stars, your day players, your one and outs, like, you gotta take care of everybody because it's important.
Exactly.
It's important because, the whole show hinges on your professionalism for sure.
Right. The quarterback is totally dependent
Yeah,
on how if the wide receiver, the tight end, and the running back and the lineman, if they're hitting the game, if they're feeling their best day. And a lot of times it's his job to let them know you are on your best day and you're with the right guy. And that's part of being a
for
lead, I
sure.
found. So that's definitely some
Yeah,
gold. That's some acting gold right there. Some
yeah.
more acting gold. All right. Now let me ask you this. In your history, right? Do you have a routine that you normally go into before you walk into a set, or do you have a routine prior to performance or self tapes, or are they both the same? Any
Well,
non-acting
I
routine?
yeah, so I prep as much as I can. I want to be my philosophy is don't do it until you get it right. Do it until you can't get it wrong. So I want to prepare so much that it's second nature to me. And then this comes from Richard. I don't remember the exact. I don't remember. I'm paraphrasing here, but it's you 40% preparation, and then you take another 40% and you embody the character. So you prep by memorizing, and then you embody the character, and then the other 20%, the last 20%, you just hand it over, knowing that you've got this, that you're ready and you're prepared. When it comes to my self tapes, my preparation is I film all my rehearsals, and I watch them back, and I steal from myself. I'm like, "Oh, I really liked when I did this thing with my eyebrow. I really like this creative hiding that I did when I was in my
Nice.
fingernail and I wasn't
Okay.
looking at the person,"
I
and
don't.
so
I
I
think that's
watch
pretty
that
cool.
back. So, yeah, so I
Wow.
film those and I watch it back. Also, I try not to do more than 2 takes on when it comes to for the for the take I'm gonna submit for my self-tape, I try not to do more than 2.
More than
I'll
two.
rehearse the shit out,
Note
but
to
I don't
self:
wanna do more than 2,
copying
and
more
here's
than
why.
two.
Well, if
Note to
you
self.
if you start doing 6, 7, 8, 10 takes, then you get used to that,
10
you
man,
know what I
no.
mean? And then
Right.
when you're on the set, they're giving you 2.
Yo,
You
get
get
his dude.
2, so
You
you
get
don't
one if
you
you're
don't
lucky.
get 9 or 10.
Right, and
You
it's gonna
get
be in a
1 if you're
wide
lucky,
for a
or a
reaction
soap
shot. That's
opera.
what you're gonna
Right,
get.
right.
So
Right. So I rehearse a bunch on film and watch it back, and then when I'm ready, when I feel like I'm ready, then I'll put my wardrobe on. Then I'll get into the space where I'm gonna shoot. And then I do an eyeline rehearsal. Eyeline rehearsal, so fucking important. I can't even tell you. If your eyeline's here and you're looking at the guy and your eyeline's right here, and then you look away and you look back to the guy and your eye line's in the same spot. It's in the same spot. But
mhm.
if you don't have a mark where your eye line's going to be, your eye line's here. And then if your eye line's, here, it's going to take them out of it. You got to know where your eye lines are. Guy number one, guy number two, guy
So
number
so
one,
so spotting
guy number
spotting,
two.
you're saying that, from an actor's standpoint, spotting to a very specific small point is a very good
Yes.
thing to do. So you have a
Yes.
nice small point
For
that
sure.
you're constantly referring back to, probably no larger than the size of an eye pupil at the most. That
Correct.
way.
Correct.
Right. So that way we can
Yeah.
get back to share an eye with the camera and an eye with the pupil, and that will
Right.
usually keep you in the right place. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. And you want to be able to go wherever you want and then go back to your guy because you're right
Right on
back to
that
your
point.
guy. Also,
Yeah,
you have to remember that if this guy is 4 feet away from me, he's here. But if some guy walks in the door over here and he's 15 feet away, then he's here.
good point.
So your eye line's here, and then you come back to your guy who's right in front of you, and then you come back to your guy who's clear across the room, is way over there. And your voice fluctuates. So it's you're talking to your guy here and you're talking to your guy over here because he's further away. So you just and those little things in your self-tape, those little rehearsal things where your guy's here and your guy's over here and your guy's right here, your voice and your eye line make a huge difference in your self-tape for
I
sure.
call those things
So I
micro
do that
performance
as a
choices. Those micro performance
yes,
choices, little tiny nuances that set you apart and shows that you've been on set and you understand the set, you're a professional,
sure.
and
Yeah,
you've definitely done
yeah,
this before. Because that's what we're talking about, confidence with producers. They wanna understand that they don't have to tell you all those little things during the shoot because they already have so many things to worry about. The director's worried about 30 people going in 30 different directions, keeping everybody on point and doing the same thing, and then knowing when to change directions and pivot to make whatever he has to work. He can't worry about you don't know where the hell to put your eye line. It's really unfair to
right,
ask him
right.
to sit there and
Yeah,
coach you and be, "All right, now I want you to reach deep and you're not getting none of that,
yeah,
especially if you're, like, in there for 5
yeah,
lines. Ain't nobody coming over and be like, "All right, I want you to feel this," and start all that stuff
yeah,
you
right.
see in TV. I was waiting for that. That happens. That happens. If you're the lead, you can get that. It spoils you. You know, the director's
Sure.
always in your ear,
Yeah,
make everybody leave, and he's, like, eliciting a performance from you. Yeah, that doesn't happen often in primetime TV if it ain't your show. It doesn't happen ever in primetime TV
yeah,
if it isn't your show, is from my experience, and I've done a lot of primetime television
yeah,
as you have. So,
yeah,
I do
yes.
wanna say, when do you, I don't know, what do you if you had think is the biggest misconception about Hollywood and this business, what is the biggest misconception that you think an actor moving here tomorrow faces? And what is the thing that you right off the bat, I see the most actors, the majority of the actors I come into contact with, this is the first thing I need to fix. Something like that, in that range.
Well, uh, I would say that actors usually make it more difficult than it is. First of all, um, you know, it's not, what you see on TV and what really happens, is usually two different things. You'll see somebody uh,
That's the
book a
magic.
commercial and they'll say, I think they made $100,000. Well, you have to understand that if they got paid $100,000 to do this, they didn't get $100,000. They got $50,000 because you got to pay taxes, and you got to pay your agent, and you got to pay your manager and a lawyer or whatever. When it all boils down, you get 50. And if you have a exclusivity clause with somebody that you can't do any other commercials for a year, then now they say, well, he's making 100 grand a year doing this. Well, he's making 50 grand a year doing this. And that's not that much money in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah.
so the
No,
money,
no, no.
the money that
You're struggling at 50
somebody
grand.
says, well, he got $5 million for a movie. It's like, well, he got 2.5 million. He didn't get five. And so, it's half of what that is. I think also that we make it harder than it has to be. Uh, The other thing is that everyone wants to show, watch me act when you don't have to. Listen, the camera picks up everything. The
Everything.
camera reads your face. If you're mad, you can just be mad. You don't have to show us. You just have to be mad. You have to be sad. You have to be happy. You can smile with your eyes. Like too many actors want to show us what they're doing when you don't have to show us anything. The camera's going to pick up everything.
Just
If
think
you're
it.
upset, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it. So do less, do less, do less. You don't have to do that much. You don't have to make it that difficult. Ed Harris was on Inside the Actor's Studio, and James Lipton was interviewing him, and he said, you've been accused of not doing much in your scenes. And he says it's made you a fortune. And he says, when I walk into a room when he's acting, he goes, when I walk into a room, if I don't know what to do, I don't do anything. And I thought, that's that's smart. You know, it's
That's beautiful.
smart because
That's beautiful.
you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You know,
I think
Steven
you have to think
Spielberg
something.
said of Tom Hanks, he said, I could watch Tom Hanks sit and think for hours. Like it's just fascinating. And
I
so
love that.
you just have to be in the moment of what's going on, and your eye movement, you know, sometimes just a little eye movement tells this giant story. Here's the other thing, and this is huge. This is huge. You have to remember that the audience, the director, the casting director, the producers, everyone is going to create their own narrative. They're going to create their own narrative as to what's going on. So you can do this one thing and they'll go, "Oh, you know what he was thinking? He was
Yeah,
thinking this, this, and this." And it's like, "Oh, I was not thinking any of those things." But the audience is going to create their own narrative. The casting directors, they're going to go, "Oh, did you see what he did there when he went like that with his nose?" You could tell
yeah,
he was just upset. When really I just had an itch on my nose and that's why I did that. Everyone
but I
creates their own narrative. You don't have to work that hard. You don't have to work that hard.
that
We're
happened to
not
me too. I
curing
was on a set.
here, man. We're not, yeah.
That happened to me too.
So
I was on a set and I, the director came to me, "Oh my god, that one moment, that concern on your face, you went flush, like you turned like your skin went white and you looked really upset. That was perfect. That was money." I mean, I could tell you were into it and thinking about it. And quite honestly, and they said that was one of the best takes. And I was like, "All right, great." But I really, in my mind, I was like, "I hope that was the right line. I didn't match my last take." That was what I was thinking. "Oh my
yeah,
god, that didn't match the last
yeah,
take," and I was like, I went white with, "Oh, shoot. I hope I didn't mess up the take. This is my, like, 7th one."
yeah.
Really?
But they're watching you. They're
That was
watching you think. They're watching you think. Yeah,
yeah, they're watching
yeah.
me
It's
think,
crazy.
and sometimes they catch the strangest
Watching you
things.
think, going, "Oh, he's so deep. He's going into something," and it's like, no, I was just thinking, did I say the right line? So Clooney was interviewed about this scene in the back of a cab um, from some. It was a film that he did, and they shot it in New York, and the last frames of the film were him in the back of the cab, and he's just sitting there, and everyone made all these comments like, "Oh, we could just see the weight of of what happened to him was coming in. He was thinking about all these things." And they said, "So how was it?" He goes, "Honestly, we didn't have any permits. And so we couldn't block up the street. So I was just riding in a cab and there was all kinds of people outside going, 'Clooney, what's up?' And they were yelling and screaming at me. And all I
I
was trying to do was not laugh." He goes, "I
love
was
it.
just trying not to laugh." And everyone was like, "Oh, it was so deep and thoughtful." And he's like, "I was just trying not to laugh."
That's
So
great.
the audience is going to create their own narrative, and we don't have to make this acting thing so difficult.
Alright, hey, Imma end with a
That's my
little quick run of, Imma hit you with a thought, current event thought, and you tell me any one word or one sentence thing. LA today, how do you feel about it in acting here?
um I am hopeful.
Hopeful. Alright. The
I'm
business
hopeful.
Hollywood, is it dead?
I'm hopeful.
Is Hollywood dead? Do you
No,
think we're reviving?
no, no. We're not dead. Not by a long shot.
America, where do you think we're at today, and how do you feeling?
we are we are upside down, man. We are
Ah,
upside down,
okay,
and
okay.
it's not going well, but this too shall pass.
Alright, that's enough for me on that. Internationally speaking, any aspirations or goals that you, would love to see happen for the industry, for yourself, for this country? Anything that you would love to see happen? Anything that you're afraid of?
I don't think I'm afraid of anything. I wrote a pilot a few years back, and I'm trying to sell it right now, so I'm hoping that that happens.
Alright.
I think working, I was fortunate enough to go to the Cannes Film Festival a few years back for a film that I did, and I love the international experience as far as filmmaking and all of that. And I think I'm open to all of it, and I'm hopeful for the future. I think it's all gonna work out. I think people worry too much about the state of our business and our industry and AI and all this other stuff. I say just keep moving ahead, and it's all gonna be fine.
On that note, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Daniel Paul Warner.
Yeah,
I
of
got your middle name
course.
right. Did I get
Yeah,
it right? Did I get it
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm an
Yeah,
actor,
yeah,
acting coach, photographer. I didn't even get a chance. I'm gonna have to do a second just on your photography career.
yeah.
Photographer,
Thank you. Yeah.
man, and I didn't get a chance to get into your creator career. I mean, creating the studio,
Oh,
creating the website. Repeat the
yeah, yeah.
website once more for my listeners and for the people here today.
Okay, it's actingcareerexpertstudio.com.
Fantastic. It's fantastic. I've been there. I regularly look through it, and I think it's a wealth of knowledge and absolute gold for actors coming to Hollywood who wants to understand the industry on both sides, the business of the business
Yeah, yeah,
and the talent of the business. All right. With that, on that
for
note, I
sure.
want to thank you again, Dan, man. You're the man. Sugar
Thomas,
Man
thank you
Dan.
so much.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
bringing it in
yeah.
today. I
Thank you so
appreciate you,
much. Yeah,
brother. And my team thanks you.
it was
All right,
great.
bro. All right. You have a
Thank you so
fantastic
much for having me.